I just wanted to do a quick front nine recap. So I finished the front nine one under for 35, one of the best front nines I've had all year. So now let's see if I can keep it together in this heat on the back nine. So I'm starting the back nine and it's the heat index is 110 degrees. I've got a 13-mile-an-hour wind that I'm kind of hitting into. You've got water all down the right hand side, and then past the water is a marsh that extends 220 to 260. There's a tree on the left hand side at 280, and if you could see that green is kind of in the middle. So what I do on this hole is I just blast driver because I can usually get it over that marsh, and if I'm aggressive on this hole and I do make it over the marsh on the right hand side, then I usually have a really good shot at birdie. So my drive cleared all the trouble on the right hand side, and I'm kind of over in this rough, patchy, grassy area. And I don't have that good of a lie, and I'm also kind of hitting into the wind. So instead of trying to figure out some sort of three-quarter wedge, I decided just to take a 9-iron and just hit a pitch shot with my 9-iron. So that pitch shot came out nice, but being deep down in the rough, it definitely did not bite or anything. So ran a little bit long, and I have about I don't know, 10, 12 feet left for birdie. So it wasn't for two more holes that I figured out my greenside camera issue, but I had about 12 feet for birdie, and I ended up missing the putt and just tapping in for par. Number 11 is a pretty long par 5 at 537. I'm kind of into the wind on this shot, and on the left side of the fairway is a little small tree. If you go left of that tree, you are going to lose your ball in some woods and some pretty tall grass that's like neck high. So I usually try to aim at that tree, set up for a little bit of a fade, and try to hit a fade back out into the fairway. It's a straightforward hole. It goes up about 300 yards and then it doglegs to the left. So a 250 to 280 shot is really good on this hole. So I hit a decent drive, but I still have 264 to the hole, and I'm pretty much into the wind. Um, so this particular hole, you have to have about 95% carry to get to the hole because there's a big ditch filled with water, and everything funnels down into that ditch, and it kind of plays about 50 or 60 yards wide. So I'm just laying up here with a little 7-iron, just trying to get on the next shelf and set up for the third shot. This ended up being the only shot all day I could not get the shot tracer to work on. So I had 141 into the wind, and I had to carry a good 135 to get to the front of the green. And I didn't have the best lie on this like course under repair area. It was kind of like hitting on concrete with a little bit of grass on it. But I took an extra club, a 6-iron, hoping that if anything I would go long, and just tried to aim for the center of the green and put it on the green and have a two putt par was my plan. This bunker, and I had 15 yards to the pin, and I had to carry the ball about 10 yards because there was a downslope and I wanted to go down the downslope. So I just took like a 52, opened it up, and was trying to get under this wet sand. It had rained the night before and the sand was all packed. So just take like a half swing, get under this, and make a good shot. However, I hit it straight over the green. I'm like 10 yards from the pin, nearly as far as the bunker shot, And I just took my 60 and hit like a full chip to try and get as close as I could, but it was downhill and it ran on me. I had about 15 feet left for my bogey, and I don't think I really took much time to read the green. I just kind of lined the putt up and approximated the break and just tried to give it a rip and hope that it goes in. But I really overread the break and ended up getting a double bogey. So after this hole, I was pretty bummed out. I had hit a poor layup shot, then pulled a an easy 6 iron into a bunker, then bladed my bunker shot, then hit my chip over the pin and left myself a 15 footer for bogey, which I didn't make, and I overread the break by like 3 feet. And what I realized is I had been so busy filming that I had not eaten anything. I wasn't drinking very much water, and it was extremely hot. This Texas heat is nothing to mess with, and you have to stay hydrated or your brain will not function. And obviously, my brain wasn't functioning on this hole. So what I did is I downed a full Gatorade, I ate a banana and a Lara bar. I went over to the water cooler and just doused my face. I took 5 minutes off just sitting in the shade before I went to the next hole. Hydration and nutrition are just so important on the golf course, and I try to eat something every 4 holes, and I try to drink uh, about 120 ounces of water at least while I'm on the course. So after this, I started drinking tons of water and Gatorade, and I was good to go. So even though I took some time off, I still wasn't properly hydrated, and I still wasn't thinking the way I should. I mean, I'm pretty much into the wind on this hole. I've got 184. I only hit my 4 iron 190 yards anyway, and I decided to go ahead and hit 4 iron. It's a pretty straightforward par three, no bunkers. Everything's good. It's a big, huge green, and not a lot of trouble. You just have to get it there. So I actually hit my 4 iron pretty good. I just came up short. I was like 15 yards short because I didn't have the right club into that wind. And this is just a pretty straightforward chip with a 60-degree wedge. Just trying to get it close so I can make par. A decent chip. I left myself 6 foot for par. I mean, you can't ask for a whole lot more. Hole number 13 is a 554 yard par 5. There's a bunker right in the middle of the fairway, middle right of the fairway at 230 yards. It usually takes about a 240-yard shot to get over the bunker, but a fairly wide fairway. The wind was kind of blowing to the right, and I think on this shot I usually try to aim to the left side and play a fade. I hit this huge fade and I ended up right of everything in the rough over here. And I've got 273 to the pin, so I'm never going to reach with anything. So I just took a 4 iron and tried to punch it out from underneath this tree and get back out into the middle of the fairway. So I punched out. I've got 166 to the pin. Still have that wind blowing left to right. And kind of on the ball's just a hair above my feet on this lie, and I decided to hit a 5 iron because I felt like I was still a little fatigued from all the heat. So my 5 iron was too much club. I should have hit a 6. Probably could have even gotten away with a 7. And I went over the green, and I've got 20 paces to the pin. So I'm just hitting a 56 chip shot. And hooray, this was the hole where I figured out my greenside camera issues. So you get to see that shot from two angles. A really good chip from back there on a side hill lie next to the bunker, and I left myself 5 feet for par. A pretty straightforward 5 foot putt. 161 yard par 3. Wind is blowing right to left, and there's a bunker on the right hand side of the green, a pretty big bunker at 130 yards. So you can't be right. There's plenty of room left. So I just kind of aimed at the center of the green, and the wind just kind of blew the ball a little bit over to the left. I was on the green, but I still had 45 feet to the pin on this crazy uh, double breaking putt. And so I just kind of lined it up right at it and hit it, and then it almost went in. It was pretty crazy. It almost went in. It would have been one of the greatest putts I've ever made. I'd say that's good. So a short par four, a slight dogleg right. Wind is pretty much blowing right to left. There's a bunch of bunkers down the left-hand side. So from 230 to 250 down the left, you'll be in jail if you land in those bunkers. There's some little bushes on the right at 240 and another one at like 260. The green is actually directly behind those pampas bushes. So on this hole, I just aim at that rightmost bunker and give it a rip. So this green is 3 tiers, and the flag was on the bottom tier. You got a bunker on the left, and the ball was above my feet. And so instead of trying to figure out the wind, take some sort of partial wedge, I decided just to hit a little 8 iron pitch shot and try to land it right on the front of the green. I ended up fading my pitch shot a little bit and ended up being about 12 yards short of the pin. I think if I would have hit it straight, it would have been right at the pin within like 3 feet. So I just hit a little chip shot with my 60 degree and carried it a little bit too far. So this was a little delicate downhill 8 footer, and I thought I had the line and everything perfect on this shot, but it just stopped breaking. Just stopped breaking and lipped out. Back in June, me and my buddy did the 4 club challenge, and I chose a driver, a wedge, a 8 iron, and a 6 iron. And so we did it on this course, and what I learned is that I can hit driver pretty much dead straight, about 220 to 240 by taking a little half or 3/4 swing. And on this hole, uh, and a few of the other holes on this course that are short par fours, I now only hit like those little easy drivers. So I have a tricky little short par three. There's no wind since it's surrounded by tall trees. Slight dog leg left. The green is kind of behind the bush. The fairway only extends 270, and if you go right at all, you will be in the trees and lose your ball. So I just hit this little easy driver. So after my straightest tee shot of the day, I had 72 yards left to the pin, which was pretty much a stock 56 for me. So I just aimed right at it and hit this wedge full. So I pulled that wedge just a little bit, but still maybe like 8 feet left for birdie. 8 feet left for birdie. The putt doesn't break a whole lot, so pretty straightforward. So another little tricky par four. No wind because of all the trees. It's a big dog leg right, 90 degrees right. The fairway only extends about 200 to 230. So the further left you are, the shorter the fairway is, and you cannot go right. Those trees extend all the way down beside the cart path. Once again, I just hit a little easy driver on this hole. This was actually the best tee shot I had ever hit on this hole to this point. And I only had 129 left to the pin. There's a creek that runs across. It plays about 40 yards wide. It's you can't so you cannot be short. I had 129 to the pin. You can't be right. There's bushes and water on the right. So I just hit like a full 9 iron. So I ended up hitting that 9 iron to the left. I ended up drawing it over, and I had like 20 paces to this pin. And the day was kind of getting long, and I was getting pretty tired, and I never even read the green. And there's like a huge slope down, and if I would have played it up the slope, I probably would have had 1 or 2 feet left to the pin. But instead, I didn't read the green before my chip, and I ended up with 7 feet left for par. Number 18, straight away, par four. I've got the wind pretty much with me. Um, there's a marsh on the left hand side that you have to clear, and the driving range is on the right, so you do not want to go right. You have to be in the fairway on this hole, or you have to go past that marsh on the left, which is exactly what I did on this tee shot. Had 112 to the hole, still with the wind. Kind of had a crummy lie, ball a little bit above my feet, but I decided just to just hit a full pitching wedge. So I hit a pretty good shot into this deal. Out of that rough, it kind of kicked forward a little bit, but still a really good shot. So last hole of the day, I have 6 feet left for birdie. I was thinking about number nine, where I lipped out for birdie for the second straight hole, and I was determined to make this putt. I don't show it, but I actually went back and read it from both sides of the hole twice to make sure I had the line. A great way to end the day with a birdie. Always good to end with a birdie. So I ended up having a pretty good back nine and shooting 3 over par for 39. And my stats on the back, I hit 4 fairways, 4 greens. I had 3 pitches, 5 chips, and 15 putts. Um, it just goes to show you, as long as you're not losing balls and you can chip and putt, then you can shoot a low score. So for the round, I hit 9 fairways, but most of the fairways I missed, I didn't miss by a whole lot. I hit 8 greens. I had 6 pitches, 7 chips, and only 28 putts. So for the whole round, my final score was a 2 over par 74, which is actually the second lowest score I've ever shot on this course. So it was a pretty good round for me. Definitely a little bit like a little bit better than average score for me. So if you liked my vlog and you liked how I kind of demonstrated the clubs that I selected and the shots that I did, please subscribe to my channel. You can also find me on Instagram at sharpergolf underscore, or you can just use the hashtag sharpergolf and find my account that way. Thanks for watching.